Good afternoon. Good afternoon, everyone. Good to be back at Focusrite. So what is Travel Ledger? Travel Ledger is a B2B settlement engine exclusively developed for the travel industry. When you step back and you look at the traditional way that travel settlement takes place, if you put aside the airline industry has actually had a system in IATA's BSP for well over 40 years. But there's nothing else for the rest of the industry, for the non-airline side of the business. And when you look at the processes, they're actually quite manual, messy. You have sellers sending spreadsheets, PDFs, statements via email to buyers. Buyers try to make some sense of that data and then reconcile it with their back office. And then eventually, when they've reconciled that information, then they send it back they pay the seller. And very often, actually, even if they pay quite well and on time, the problem is the seller receives this sum of money, but they don't know exactly what the money is for. So the process kind of works, but is not really as efficient as it should be. So how have we changed that? So travel settlement today, when you're using Travel Ledger, is much more streamlined. You have a single way for the seller to deliver the data to the buyers. So there's basically an electronic invoicing platform where all the transactions get normalized. So you might have 30 suppliers where you receive the data in a single format. So very easy to process, very easy to feed into the back office. And you have then when the payment takes place, not only the money is transferred automatically, but also the remittance information is passed on to the supplier. So the supplier receives the funds, but also receives the very detailed breakdown of exactly which booking was paid, which one wasn't paid, which one was only paid half. What are all the contentious bookings as well? You know, because tracking contentious bookings, I mean, if you have 50 suppliers and you have one contentious booking with each one of them, it normally means 50 emails. So it's basically bringing together all that information, that financial data exchange that takes place within travel companies. So the benefits are quite obvious. Accounts receivable, accounts payable, people really like it, obviously. Automates the process. Buyers have an element of control. Unlike the way it happens in the airline industry, they don't just take the money and then kind of go back and try to kind of sort it out. With Travel Ledger, we want to give some control to the buyer, so the buyer has the opportunity to review the data and then authorize all the payments to go through. And it can also be used for refunds. And obviously, unfortunately, over the last few years, refunds has been a big issue, and money was going in the opposite direction. Sellers, it makes collecting money predictable because then you know exactly when you're going to be paid. Risk management obviously helps with that, and we try to make it easy for the IT people as well. We have the ability to integrate with a file or the ability to use an API. So onboarding was really key in our journey. In fact, what is our journey? Let's look. We started at about the end of 2018, 2019. In fact, I presented on this very stage at the very beginning. We got some seed investment. We signed a partnership with ABTA, the Association of British Travel Agencies, and that was a key pivotal point after October, because very quickly we managed to onboard 350 companies. So before the end of the year, we already had 350 companies on board. Now we have 400, and last month we processed 60 million pounds of settlements and that represents about 1,700 points of sale in the UK. So today, we've grown very quickly in the UK, and the reason why we've grown that quickly is because of the network effect. You know, the more buyers we have, the more sellers want to be on the platform and vice versa. And in fact, you can only participate to the platform if you're invited either by a company that is already on the platform or by one of the associations that have a partnership with us. But what we're announcing today was actually, we've done all of this in the UK. We're now expanding to Europe. In September 2022, we'll be available in Europe. We're also introducing a digital wallet that moves us away from the more traditional banking, if you like, and gives us the ability to do real-time settlement. So we're shortening the settlement process as well. And most importantly, we're doing this at a lower cost than some of the other methods that are out there, like cards and things like that, which when you're moving those amounts is quite considerable. Market, we believe there's a big market opportunity. We set our eyes on about 16% of the market by 2027. We think is reasonable and feasible, and at an average revenue of 30 euro cents per booking, plus ancillary revenue, because this is just the start. The network effect allows us to add value. We have a few ideas on how we're going to be able to add value with other products as well, but we're not talking about it yet. When it comes to investment, we've done a couple of raises as well. We're actually in the middle of a Series A. We've already collected over 1.4 million from our existing shareholders, because they have a preemption right. We already opened investment for them. And we're in the process of talking to a number of companies to close the Series A after the summer. And that primarily is going to drive our international expansion. Now we have a market proven in the UK, a platform that works. Now it's all about scale. Thank you.
Roberto, thank you. All right, focus group members.
Let me perch
What's
up
our
here.
read?
Oh, lots
Right,
of greens, lots of greens. So we're into fintech. Chris is sideways green, so let's start there, and then we can go around here.
Yeah, I like it in principle. It sounds a little bit like a virtual payment platform mixed with a bit of BSP, which is great. But that lends itself to questions about scalability across different suppliers, different payment terms in different areas of the supply side. You would have to act as a settlement vehicle, which means who's your banking partner? Do you have a ZAG license? Where is the money coming from? I would also assume from this that you would have some kind of enforceability on non-payment as well, which indicates some kind of treasury or settlement resolution role. So a few questions like that, but in principle, brilliant.
Anyone else?
Who's going to add to that? Are you kidding?
Yeah.
I ain't saying a thing.
Loaded question.
All right, Adi will jump in and save us all.
Just a question. Amazing opportunity, and seems to be a great solution. I'm amazed about your track record and let's say how fast you grew. But the question is more on the regulatory aspects, because you're now processing payments and so forth. So do you have any authorization, any regulatory license? First of all, in your first market, so UK, and now you're migrating to Europe. So what's the status on that?
Anyone else? Chantal or Chris?
Yeah. I would just love to hear a couple of comments on competitors and your competitive advantage.
And I was curious, it looks like you have a ton of functionality there, so I got the sense maybe you've got some partners on the back end. It doesn't seem like you're building everything yourself, so curious about that.
All right, let's go to Roberto here.
Well, let me address to begin with the regulatory elements. We work with partners that have banking licenses and electronic money license, so the money is always protected, FCA, various regulatory organizations. In terms of, yes, we work with other partners as well at the back end. From that perspective, we don't actually get involved on the commercial side. We don't make any guarantees of payment or anything like that. In a way, we're more passing instructions of payments. That's, however, is where we sometimes work with associations. Like in the case of ABTA, for example, ABTA does some of that settlement through some of their bank accounts. But not only that, and obviously they only do for the members, but they are the ones that act as the kind of supervisor. Okay, so they have behavioral guidelines and all of that. So if somebody says, oh, such and such are bad payers or whatever, they don't come to us, they go to the association that kind of provides that oversight. So we partner with IT companies, we partner with trade associations, and also we have the ability to do direct settlement, as well as through a third party.
Time's up and a little bit over. Thanks very much.
Thank you, Roberto.
All right,
All
thank
right.
you. Thank you,
Thanks,
everyone.
Roberto.